Hello everyone, my name is Sophia. Today I'll share my personal life event with you guys that will definitely shock you for once. Can you guys please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and engrossing real couple stories? Great! Tracing the last year when I was working as a senior doctor in a clinic of my father's friend. There was also a handsome and young man named John who was working as a receptionist in the same clinic. He used to spend time with me most of the time for work matters. Soon he proposed me. I was really happy and obviously agreed with his idea. Our relationship was going good, although I was 6 years older than him, but he still found me very attractive. I decided to discuss about my relationship with my parents, but my parents' response was really unexpected. They did not want me to have any relationship with such an ordinary receptionist. Instead, they wanted me to marry a rich businessman. Even once my dad humiliated my boyfriend's standard in front of him. Situation was getting worse day by day. My parents were forcing me to marry a rich businessman. Enough was enough, so soon I decided to leave my house. I discussed my matter with my boyfriend. He suggested me to live with him. He told me that I would be comfortable at his house as there was no one else in the house except his father. When I was leaving the house, my parents showed normal reaction that was quite strange. When I reached my boyfriend's house, he welcomed me beautifully with rose petals and gave me some chocolates as well. There was another person as well who seemed excited on my arrival. He was actually my boyfriend's father. He was really creepy because the way he was looking at me was kinda thirsty. I remember when I entered my boyfriend's room, I asked my boyfriend for a headache medicine as my mind was spinning at my parents' behavior on my departure. But there was having no medicine at his house, so I went to the medical store in order to take the medicine. I remember I was roaming here and there at my BF's house when someone patted on my shoulder from backside. When I looked behind, he was my boyfriend's dad. He began to say that I'll find everything at his house. I was just having a conversation with him. Meanwhile, he held my hand and began to kiss my hand desperately. I slightly pushed him back. I was really shocked of this act. When my boyfriend reached at the house, I told him his father behavior, but he began to calm me down and said that, "Come on, Sophia, he's just like your own father. He was just giving you the welcome kiss. You should think positive." My boyfriend's these words were disappointing for me. I got angry with him and then he fixed my mood by doing some cute acts. The next morning when I woke up, I found my boyfriend nowhere in the bed. I hurriedly stood up in order to find him. I really did not notice that I was wearing a revealing sleeping suit. I remember when I was looking my boyfriend in the house, my boyfriend's father tried to touch my visible part of sleeping suit and said me that your boyfriend is now outside. He went out in order to buy your favorite cereals. The way he was touching my body was unbearable. I again slightly pushed him back. I must say my boyfriend's father was such a mysterious person. Whenever my boyfriend reached the home, I asked him, "Is he your blood relation father or a step one?" My boyfriend manipulated and said, "Why are you asking this kind of question?" I again asked him his father's creepy behavior, but he did not consider. Well, we both went to the clinic together. When I entered the clinic, the owner of the clinic was my father's friend, so he gave us both determination letters. We both were highly upset. My boyfriend then advised me to stay away from anxiety and depression. He even said that he will fulfill every expenses of the house by himself. Soon he got a good job. I wanted a job as well, but did not get any of my worth. I remember once when my boyfriend left for the office and said that he will come late by tonight. That day I was feeling really lazy and kinda sick, so I stayed at my room. My door was locked. I was sleeping. Meanwhile, my door began to knock. I opened my eyes and moved towards the door. I was literally deciding that should I open the door or not, because it must be my boyfriend's strange father. When he knocked several times, then I took some courage and opened the door. He was holding a tray full of fruits and juices. He told me that he came to know that I am not fine, so he took everything from me. I showed him a perplexing face expression because I wanted him to go back. But instead of going back, he seated along with me and held my hands. This action was totally beyond my understanding. He even rested his head on my shoulder and tried to touch on my body. I firmly pushed him back and asked him to leave my room. He saw me furiously and left the room. I was literally sweating that time. I quickly locked my door and began to call my boyfriend. He picked my call. I asked him to come home early. When he reached at the home, I told him that his father's behavior is becoming unbearable day by day. As usual, he told me that, Sophia, it's not a matter to create panic. My father is just so caring, and due to the overage, he's kinda irritating as well. I know my father is really expressive, but he would not harm you. Again, my boyfriend did not listen to me and asked me to go for a dinner to fix my mood. We really enjoyed that night. I exactly remember when I was entering the house after the dinner, my boyfriend's father was roaming outside the house in the garage. It seemed like he was desperately waiting for us. As soon as we reached inside the house, there was having a cake on the table. When we asked him what about the cake, he told us that today's her late wife's birthday. It was really shocking as my boyfriend did not know about his mom's birthday. When I reached the room and I began to wear my lingeries, I got my lingeries missing. I was so tired, so I did not consider it. Once I was taking the shower, meanwhile I felt like if someone is watching me. Even doors and windows were closed, but I felt like someone was roaming around the bathroom. That bath was really uncomfortable, so soon I came back to my room. I went outside of my room in order to hang wet towel. I was shocked to see my boyfriend's father watching an inappropriate video on his mobile phone. As soon as he found out me there, he began to mutter, which I had not heard properly. Might be he's passing some erotic comments on me. The very next day when I went to my boyfriend's room in order to take my charger, but he often used to take my charger. I was looking for my charger, meanwhile I caught a sight on my lingeries under his bed. It was really uncomfortable for me to live with him anymore. I decided to leave this place and desperately waiting for my boyfriend to discuss this matter with me, but when my boyfriend reached at the house, he seemed really exhausted and tired. He was upset all the time as well. He told me that today his boss humiliated him. I found this time not a reasonable time to discuss my boyfriend's father's creepy activities with him. I remember that night I was not able to sleep properly. I was really restless as my boyfriend's father's activities were continuously popping up in my mind. I decided to tell my boyfriend about his father's activities next morning, but unfortunately my boyfriend left the house early than before that day. To be honest, my boyfriend's presence was making me upset and afraid. Although I was a doctor and quite mature, but still he was making me afraid day by day. I wanted to discuss this matter with someone. I decided to discuss this matter with my sister, who was my only best friend. Then I realized that I had left the house. I remember I was in the kitchen and was making white sauce pasta for my boyfriend. Unfortunately, I got black pepper finished when I wanted it right now as my white sauce pasta was incomplete. I decided to ask for my boyfriend's father. His room was closed when I opened the door. I was shocked to see him in an inappropriate condition, like he was wearing no clothes and was stalking my pictures on Instagram. On seeing him at this condition, I really screamed and locked myself on my bedroom. Unfortunately, my mobile phone was also not charged that time and my charger was at my boyfriend's room. I agreed that I was not the kid who was acting like this, but literally I have not enough words to pen down about the mysterious and dark horse personality of my boyfriend's father. I decided to leave the house as I was really uncomfortable with him. As soon as my boyfriend reached and I was about to tell him about his father's today's behavior, meanwhile, his father knocked at the door and told us that he is going to his friend's house for 1 week. After hearing this, I felt quite relaxed and happy. I remember I asked my boyfriend to go for a dinner. We really enjoyed that time. The next morning, I was sleeping free from all tensions. Meanwhile, my phone began to ring. When I received the call, I came to know that I got a job as doctor in a clinic where I had applied. They were calling me for the demonstration day after tomorrow. I was really happy and excited. I called my boyfriend about my job. He was even very happy for me. I was so happy that I played the songs fast and began to eat my breakfast charmingly. I decided to prepare myself for tomorrow's demonstration, so I assembled my documents. I was in the kitchen and began to bake chocolate cake for my boyfriend. I was adding the toppings on the cake when I felt like if someone is behind me. I looked here and there but found no one. I then decorated the cake and put it on the table. I wanted to give my best in the demonstration at the clinic, So I went to my room in order to decide a dress for me. But there, I saw my boyfriend's father. I began to shout loudly and yelled, but he closed the door. He was smiling devilishly on me. His intentions were all wrong. He was coming towards me. I covered my eyes with hands. Although I used to be very mature and brave, but still that situation was worth handling for me. He pushed me to the bed. Meanwhile, my boyfriend reached at the moment and was shocked to see us like that. As soon as I saw my boyfriend, I hurriedly ran towards him, hugged him, and I began to cry. He was literally gazing at his father furiously. Then he said something to him that shocked me. He addressed with his creepy dad and said, "Shame on you. I considered you as my own father, but you did this to me." He further said, "Sophia is just like your own daughter, but the way you behaved her and teased her is indeed unacceptable." I was literally shocked to hear his words as he told me that his old man is his own father. I asked him, if he is not your own father, then who is he? He looked down and then replied me that, "Sorry, Sophia, actually I used to live along with my friends in a hostel. But when you called me and said that you were leaving the house for me, I was having no place for you. Even my income was not allowing me to buy a separate apartment for you. This person is actually my stepfather." He further told me that his mother left her when he was a kid. He raised up in an orphanage. He said that this house is part of my mother as well, so I decided to take you over here temporarily. I even requested my stepfather to act properly like my own father, but all in vain. My boyfriend was quite disappointed and addressed to his stepfather that I started considering you as my own father. I was even very happy that we will be having a proper family. There was no embarrassment and regrets on his stepfather's face. My boyfriend took me outside of the house. I was very angry with him as he did not trust my words before I even told him so many times about his stepfather's creepy activities and behavior. My boyfriend came towards me and bended his knees and began to apologize. He was literally crying. He addressed me and said that as soon as he got good news of my job, I took leave from his office and took some roses and chocolates for me. He further said that he had not reached exactly at the time his stepfather's activities would never be exposed. He was really very embarrassed. To be honest, I really did not want to forgive him, as he should trust me before. He confessed that the way he lied to me was indeed a cheating. He must hand it over me to the safe person in the house. I remember I took my stuff and then went to my home as he did not trust my words. When I reached at the house, I discussed everything with my parents. I again joined the same clinic and started my job. You guys will not believe, but it is true that the way my boyfriend's father harassed me still makes me afraid. He was indeed a clingy man. It's about 3 months since I got a breakup from my boyfriend. He's still insisting me for a patch-up, and I'm really confused. Please give me a wise and honest decision.